Hi, folks. Welcome to Disability Landscape. This is Mark Knutson, and joining me as usual, we have Charlie Brose, who will introduce our guest. Charlie.
Thanks, Mark. Today we have with us the, well, I'm afraid I don't know the title there, but she works with a great organization and manufacturing group that is called Minnesota Diversified Industries, and her name is Jeanne Eglington. Jeanne, what is it? What is your title there? My apologies here.
No problem. My title is Director of Employment Services here at MDI.
Okay. And how long, let's give our audience a little background. How long has MDI been around?
So MDI started in 1964, and we were started by a nun who worked at a small church school and worked with people with disabilities. And she was concerned about what was going to happen to those individuals once they graduated. And so she actually started a program in 1964 that provided things for these students to do after they graduated. And she actually convinced a student at the time from the University of Minnesota, his name is John Durand, to come and work with her for a couple years to help her kind of develop a program, develop things for these young adults with disabilities to do. And actually John Durand ended up committing his life to services for people with disabilities. In the 80s, John actually came up with an idea thinking that the best thing he could do for young adults with disabilities was actually provide meaningful employment for them. And so that's kind of where MDI really kind of started looking at having a business and employing people with disabilities. Right now, today, we refer to ourselves as a social enterprise, and we have a mission of serving people with disabilities by offering inclusive employment opportunities and services. And so that's kind of our mission right now. Our business that we actually run is twofold. One is that we offer a manufacturing product, corrugated plastic, that is shaped into different types of boxes that can be used for transportation, holding things, storage, any kind of thing. And I have a couple examples here that I can show you. So this is a small version of what is a recycling container. So imagine this much, much bigger, and it's used to recycle pop cans, plastic, paper, whatever those things are. And it's made out of a type of polyethylene plastic. And so this is one of the products that we make and sell. We also make various totes and trays. This one actually has the MDI logo on. The great thing about those is that I actually keep one in my trunk and I use it for when I go to the grocery store. Saves paper, saves plastic when I'm there. So we have the manufacturing of plastic part of our business. We make the plastic in Grand Rapids, and then we send it to our other plants in Cohasset, Hibbing, and Minneapolis to actually assemble whatever the commercial pieces that we're selling. And then we also do commercial services down here in Minneapolis. One product is something that we do for Caribou Coffee, and we assemble different displays that are used to hold the coffee, and then they go out to the retail locations where they can sell it and you can buy it. So we assemble the cardboard displays and then place the coffee in there. Another one is juice pouches that need to be reassembled on pallets, and so we do that as well. So a variety of commercial services that we offer to businesses and sell, and then also the corrugated plastic.
Cool.
Now, me and Charlie, we were fortunate to be able to come in and tour your facilities, and I must say, with that that big blue container you have there, it's not that simple of a thing to put together. For me, I thought it was, it looked like it was like cardboard, but it's plastic, and it's just not bending and folding and all into place. I mean, they've got to do the sealing of the sides and all those machines, if you can just kind of explain what goes on there.
Sure. So when the product is made in Grand Rapids, you're right. That's exactly right, Mark. It's very similar to like a cardboard where it's got the layer of paper on the top and the bottom, and then the corrugation or the curved edges in the middle. And so that is made in Grand Rapids, and it's die cut to the shape that it has to be folded into and sent to our other plants. The beginning of that assembly line is the actual folding it into the right shape, and then it gets sonic welded. So that sounds a little scary that you're actually a welder, you know, where the sparks are flying, but that's not the case at all. It heats up the molecules in the plastic and it melts it together so that it holds it into place. We do that with a number of commercial businesses. We make totes for Amazon, we make totes for FedEx, and we actually are just finishing a government contract where we make totes and trays for them as well. So there's a variety of different shapes and sizes that get assembled and then sent to the businesses that we're partnering with.
That sounds, keeps you busy, I'm sure.
Yeah, it does. Actually, our current numbers are we have about 480 employees. About 184 of them are actually employees that have a documented disability, so some type of disability. And that's our mission, is that we want to provide employment to people with disabilities, because we all know that the unemployment rate for people with disabilities is more than twice as high as it is for people without disabilities.
Absolutely. And explain, obviously when some people think about employing disabled persons, they're not making a competitive wage, but I understand you guys, you keep your kids, and I will call them kids because they're all younger than me. They get a good competitive wage.
Yes, so you are correct. It used to be that it was correct to say that MDI was a sheltered workshop, that we didn't pay a competitive wage, that you would come into one of our plants and it would be non-integrated, meaning that there are lots and lots of people that have disabilities working there. Now that's not the case. Everybody who works at MDI makes at least minimum wage, if not more. They receive the benefits that come with that, just like any other employee does. You can attest to this when you were here for the tour. You can't really tell who has a disability and who doesn't have a disability.
No,
it's an integrated workforce. Our goal is to have a ratio of between 45 and 55% of our employees actually having some type of disability. And right now we're at 38%.
Okay. So you have a little work to do, but you're getting there.
Yes.
One of the pieces, the facility you showed us the other day, the white room. Can you explain what kind of products they're producing in there? And I understand this is a fairly new part of your business.
Yeah, the white room is a new project for us. Actually, it's a step down from a clean room. And so when you think about like computer technology businesses or medical assembly businesses, there's some things that we can't do because it's not to that clean room cleanliness, particles of dust. But what we can do is assemble things that don't require quite that level of cleanliness. And we got a grant a few years ago to actually help us build out the white room. I always get the words mixed up. And it's been up and running for a little over 2 years. Right now, one of the things that we actually use the room for is to assemble and package veterinary drapes. So these drapes are used in surgeries that happen in vet clinics. And so some of them are great big because maybe you're doing a surgery on like a horse or a cow.
Sure.
And then some of them are much smaller. So they have to be cut to size, folded, and put in a plastic bag. And it gets done in that room.
And then I guess one of the things that I'm thinking about too is when you're working with a new employee, I would assume you probably give them a little more time for training as a typical job environment, if you can't, cut it, you don't really get much slack. You're out the door. But with you, I would imagine you really work to not only, well, really to make sure the job is a fit for their abilities.
Mark, that's a perfect explanation. We talk a lot about fit, that a person has to be a good fit for MDI and that we have to be a good fit for them. You're working on a manufacturing floor. There can be noises. Sometimes there might be smells.
Yep.
And so it has to be a good fit for that person. The other thing that's really important to remember is that we are a social enterprise. And so it's important that the business that we bring in, we're able to get it done efficiently so that we can be competitive and we're not losing money. Because if we're losing money, we're not going to be able to provide opportunities for people to be working at MDI. So that's a really important part for us. Regarding employing people with disabilities, everybody's different. One of the things that we try and do is have people come for a tour so they can actually look at one of our floors that they might be working at and get a good idea of what that means. And then once they start, we have a really good production team that works to match people to the skills that they have. Sometimes, yes, it definitely takes longer and we're more flexible with that because the learning curve, it might take them longer to do that. But then also once a person learns the job or learns several steps of a job, we really are interested in using people's skill sets and helping them to be successful.
Yeah, because one of the things I noticed, well, that you had pointed out to us, during the tour, by using people with specific abilities, you had pointed out that individual who was doing inspection, where he's good at detail, but may not be good in other areas. But his focus on detail is really great. So that's where you have him on inspection, where it's detail.
Yes, very true. Another great example of that is that some disabilities make it really hard for a person to stay still or to stay in the same spot in the job that they're doing. So a job that they're up and able to be moving around and shifting where their body is and what they're doing is really helpful. And so we're really good at looking at people's skills and also looking at potentially their barriers or what they're not necessarily good at, which we all have those, and really trying to maximize people's skill sets.
And there was one aspect of the individuals I saw working there. They're all very young. Is there a age group that you target for employment, or is it just happened that you're really getting the young kids like fresh out of high school or such coming to work for you?
So that is kind of an irony at this point. With our contract that we had with the government entity, we ended up bringing in a lot of individuals that are younger for some reason. I don't know if there is like a specific explanation for that. We also have employees with disabilities that have been here for 30 plus years. So we also have that longevity side. And one of the reasons why is when you come in, I think a lot of people feel it, it's just a culture where they feel like it's going to be a fit for them, like they're going to be at home. I know that's how I felt when I started. And the other thing is I've talked to our employees that have disabilities in conversations. And in one circumstance, I said to the woman, how come you stay here? Why do you stay here? You have really good skills. I think you could go someplace else and make $2, $3, $4 more an hour. And she said, Jeanne, I did that once and people weren't nice to me. I didn't have any friends. Here at MDI, I have friends and I feel respected for what I do. And that says a lot. So sometimes it isn't just about money, obviously. It's about how you're treated and the peers that you work with.
So it's a matter of social interaction that they're also able to engage with people with similar disabilities and such. It becomes a social construct for that.
Yes, yes. And when you think about the younger individuals that you saw working for us, I don't necessarily think that they're going to stay here for 30 years. Our goal is to help them once they've gotten this first step to figure out what the next step for them is. Maybe it's going to be at MDI, but it might be someplace else, out working for another business. And our goal is to help them achieve that.
Do you know of any of your employees, like you said, the one lady did go take another job and come back, but have you heard of other employees that have gone on and are, you know, really enjoying their next move, being that they got the foundation and really the confidence from MDI?
It is a hard thing for us to track once people leave. I do know of several success stories of people leaving. How they're doing now, I don't necessarily get that information, but we had a woman who worked here in our Minneapolis plant. I'm going to say she started maybe 4 years ago. And when she first started, she was so shy. She wouldn't look you in the eye. She wouldn't hardly say hello to you. She hadn't worked for a while. And through work, through gaining confidence, through her realizing the job that she was doing and that she was just had an incredible work ethic, she gained confidence. She actually did public speaking for us. She knew what she was good at, and she knew that we appreciated the things that she was good at. And she actually left us for another opportunity, which is fabulous for her. Sad for us because she was an incredible worker and really, I think she was respected and she had a lot of friends here, but she was ready to move on to that next opportunity.
It's kind of sending your kid off to college, you know. I mean, you kind of want them out of the house, but then they move out to go to school, and that's the next step, or you know, get done with high school and get a job. That it's just all that process we all hopefully go through in that.
So our CEO talks a lot about that you have to be able to follow three rules at MDI to be successful. Show up for work on time, do your best, and get along with your coworkers. That seems pretty simple, but we have had some employees that haven't been able to follow those. You know, somebody who consistently is late for work or calls in, and we're gonna accommodate that for a little while. But if it's gonna happen over and over again, the consequence is that person isn't gonna have their job.
Now you had. You had the one large government contract that, you know, has been concluded, fortunately. But for that period, you were running 3 shifts, correct?
We were running 3 shifts. It was a big contract. We had a lot of product that we had to get out the door. We have consistently had 1 shift in Minneapolis. Over this contract, we did ramp up to 3 shifts, and then we also ramped up to 3 shifts in our other locations, as I said, Grand Rapids, Hibbing, and Cohasset as well. Actually, where the plastic is made in Grand Rapids, we were running 24/7 for a while. So those employees were working really hard to keep that plastic coming.
And so you, the different projects get farmed out to your different locations. Is there a specialty per location, or, you know, do they have their own projects that they do, that they work on a regular basis, that type of thing?
We work really hard, our operations guys do, into making sure that we're keeping all of our employees working as much as possible. So a lot of the machines that are used get shifted to the different organizations or to the different plants fairly often. When we finish the government contract here in Minneapolis, that's going to be headed up to one of our northern operations to be included in other commercial business that we have in the assembly of those products. Because here in Minneapolis, we do have the services work that I referred to that we can rely on for workers as well.
Okay.
In your other facilities outstate, what kind of numbers are they able to do as far as finding individuals with disabilities and that?
You know, the reason why we actually started opening plants up north is because there was a need. There was a gap in employment for people with disabilities, and we're really pretty successful up there, actually having people with disabilities come to us and apply for jobs. And again, we're that stepping stone for a lot of individuals. They come to us, they learn some skills. Maybe they haven't worked for a while, and so they have to work on their work hardening skills before they can go out and get that next opportunity. We're probably more successful at this point in time in hiring people with disabilities up north than we are in Minneapolis. And I think part of that is because of the contracts that we get down here and being able to keep consistent work for employees across the board throughout the year. And then also some transportation is a challenge everywhere. But for instance, when we're working a second and a third shift down here in Minneapolis, transportation for people with disabilities is really, really a challenge.
Yeah. And then as for the employees, are there benefits that the employees get then?
So all of our employees, like I said, make at least minimum wage, if not more. And, you know, in this day and age, especially in Minneapolis, we know that the minimum wage is going up to $15 an hour. So that's true for our employees as well. And then they get the same benefits as everybody else within that category. And so depending on how many hours you work, it does depend on what the benefits are that you get and how much of the benefit you're able to accrue. So if you only work part-time, you aren't going to get the full benefit.
Okay.
So PTO, health, dental, those kind of things.
The typical benefits you would expect from a manufacturing business, because like you say, when you're part-time, you don't get a lot of those benefits. You basically get a badge and let's get to work.
Right. On the other hand, a lot of people who have disabilities, that may be what they're able to do, is only work part-time. So we want to be able to be flexible and provide employment for them as well.
So it's not a requirement that you have to work full-time for MDI. If you're, if you're unable to maintain a full day, you're more than welcome to come in and put a 4-hour day in and help out, right?
So we really work hard to provide the accommodations that an employee needs. One of them certainly is, what's the schedule that's going to work with them? How many hours are they going to work? And that's different in every plant as far as what they can do. So my team, the employment services team, works with our employees with disabilities to kind of figure out what those accommodations are that somebody needs. Sometimes it's working a part-time schedule. Sometimes it might be, maybe their anxiety is bad that day, and so they need to step off the floor for a little bit. Or maybe they had a hard night the night before and they didn't sleep well. There's lots of things that can occur. Maybe somebody doesn't learn all of the jobs that happen through that assembly of the plastic tote. Maybe they only learn part of those jobs and they don't do them all because of the skill set that they have and accommodations that they need. Okay. What I can say pretty much across the board is that we're a manufacturing floor. So it's not realistic to think that you're going to sit down for your full shift, because you're up and moving, and it's just part of the nature of being in manufacturing.
And then you provide cross training as well through in the totes and things like that. So they could be a part of any step of that project, of that process, and step in and assist or take over for someone.
Right. And it all depends on the person. I really like to think that we're individualized in what people are able to do. We talked earlier about the sonic welding process that happens with the totes and trays. Some people look at those machines and they're really intimidating and scary. Other people will look at those same machines and say, let me up there. I want to try and do that. I know I can do that. So depending on what somebody wants and also what they're able to do, we're going to give them those chances. Some people may try it and they may realize, I don't like this part of the job, and so I'm okay not doing it. Others may be like, oh, I love this. I could be up here 8 hours a day. We wouldn't let somebody do that because it wouldn't be ergonomically good for them. But that is how some people feel about parts of the job.
Yeah, watching the people that were working on those sonic welders, I look at the machine and it looks a little intimidating to me. So I'm sure that there are going to be some people that go, I don't want to mess with that because, you know, I may not get hurt, but I don't want to take the chance.
Right. Yes. And I know that there are some people that have been employees for MDI for years before they actually felt confident enough that they would try it and just give it a try.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be wrapping it up here. Is there anything you would like to say before we end the show here?
I would just encourage your audience that if they have a desire to learn more about MDI, to go to our website, www.mdi.org, and check it out. It has all the information about the products that we sell, the services that we sell. It also has information about our mission and employing people with disabilities. And there's great videos that you can link to see testimonials from employees as well.
Jeanne, thank you so much for your time today. You know, when I first started reading about MDI, you know, I was afraid that it was like just the workshop type location, but you know, we got the opportunity to take a look at your facility. These people are doing great and meaningful work, and it looks like they're, you know, for the most part, they're enjoying themselves. I saw some real energetic people out on that work floor. And, you know, you'd be hard pressed to find that in some factories at anywhere you go. So,
well, I thank you for the opportunity. Sometimes at MDI here, we say that we're really one of the best kept secrets out there. And so this is a really good opportunity for us to get the word out to more people in the state of Minnesota.
well, and I hope, you know, we can generate a few more applicants for you guys over there. So
we would love that opportunity too.
All right. I'm Charlie Brose. I want to thank Jeanne Eglington for joining us today. I'm here with Mark Knutson. You've been watching Disability Landscape. We'll see you next time.